Welcome back. Of course, this is the Daybreak Africa, and I am Micheal Obagiri. Today we'll be talking about something very interesting that is of concern right now, especially with the off-cycle elections that are forthcoming, talking about the roles of political parties in electioneering process and the preparedness of the electoral body towards the forthcoming elections. Today we have a political analyst in the studio to do justice to this in person of Akinsile Akinniran. A very good morning to you.
Good morning.
He's looking very fatherly today.
Sometimes we need to at least appear that way.
Anyways, going straight to today's business, we know that it is quite, will I say, it's a normal thing now for political parties to always come up with crises at one point or another, especially when it comes to the electioneering periods. So what would you say is quite responsible for this?
Well, thank you very much. Before we go into that, we need to know what are the responsibilities, the roles, and the functions of political parties. This will now lead us to the question you just asked. Very simple. Every political party is expected to present candidates. That is where the lacuna always comes from. In the bid of presenting candidates, there will be problems because everybody will want to satisfy their curiosity. Someone like me, I will say, okay, I wish my candidate to emerge. You wish your candidate to emerge. From there will be revelry. In the process, all the things will continue to follow. And in Nigerian context, we don't have a definite way of selecting our expected candidate in a party. It's always like the majority always carry the vote. Take for instance, if I'm the godfather in that particular party, I want to influence my decision on others to ensure my candidate emerge. And in the process of doing that, those that I think they are not as strong as myself, but they have better candidates than mine, we want to ensure that they have their way. In the process, all these issues will begin to emanate, and it's now left for God to intervene. We have seen this severally in the past. I want to use Ondo State as a case study. And in the last gubernatorial election, there's one candidate who is in the ruling party. Precisely, I want to mention it because it's now it's over. When Ruben, what's his name, Bola, was in APC as the serving deputy governor, he left, and he ensured he finished the office of the deputy before at the end of the expiration of the term. But the truth was, he left that party to another party to contest. He lost. He was not satisfied. He has to go to another party to ensure that his aspiration and desires come to pass. But at the end of the day, he lost the election. That's why the third party eventually made him the candidate. So what am I trying to say? When you are too desperate for power, and when you have godfathers that can always say, don't worry, good or bad, you are going to have your way. And I like one of my political fathers who used to say that the head will not lose. I mean, the head will win, the tail will not lose. And that has always been the situation with the politicians. Until we come to a round table to say, let us always present the best candidate. And let us agree is the best. Look at what is happening in Nigeria today. Today we have our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as our candidate, and now as now the president of Nigeria. Let us ask ourselves: is it the best in that party, or was it influenced on others, or was it imposed on others, or he won honorably at the primary? By the time you put this together, Nigerians can answer that, not me.
Okay, now you've been mentioning of something very interesting that really want to lead me to my next question. You made mention of conducting primaries if the person is the best, with a lot of questions marks on what you've just said. Now, the rights is within the rights and their obligations to give us a candidate which they believe is the best.
Yes.
That is going to represent them. At the end of the day, we have what we call the party agenda. And at the end of the day too, because politics is a game of interest, you also have the agenda of the candidates. Now, for every human being outside, we believe that both of them must have come to an agreement that, okay, this is the person that is going to represent us well. But at the end of the day, we have seen situations where we see a lot of parties with the kind of agenda that, okay, this is the trajectory, this is the way they want to go about things. By the end of the day, we see somebody coming over to do something different, who happens to be a candidate for them, emerging victorious in an election. Of course, it's an interesting. Do you think the parties are doing the right thing in that aspect by not scrutinizing, by not knowing what this person embodies and what is going to carry out?
Thank you very much. That's a very brilliant question. And I will answer this within a few seconds. In the past, in Nigeria as a contest, the likes of UPN, the likes of NPN, they are the party of ideologies. They have ideas. They sell the idea and they ensure that anytime they emerge, they follow the idea to the letter. Today, let us ask ourselves, the parties we have today, do they have ideologies? It's when you have ideology as a party, you can implement what you have. Today is winner takes it all. Once you have your way to influence in a party and you emerge, whatever you do is your business. I remember the last election in Ondo State. I want to use Ondo State as a case study. Okay. We learned that the party spent 23 billion for the election. Tell me, what do you want such party to do for your country, for your state, than to collect the money and the interest? Because it has become an investment now. When you invest in politics, you have to get the money back and the interest and even the profit, because the money you borrowed, you are going to pay the interest. And once you pay the interest, even you yourself that can get the such thing, you need to get your profit. How than subtract 23 billion plus interest, maybe 30 billion plus your what do you call it? Your profit around 60, 70, 80, 100. Mention it. So such party will not come back and give you something reasonable. To start with, the party itself did not have ideology, did not have any manifesto. That's why people always give them kudos in Lagos. They have blueprints since 1999. They still follow today. Even if you emerge in Lagos as a governor, you don't have you don't have your own opinion as far as governance is concerned. You follow the blueprint on ground, and that's why you see Lagos State moving, improving on daily basis. The question is that, are the other states, even Nigeria as a country now, do we do the same thing? Let us ask ourselves in Nigeria, do we have blueprints? That's to start with. I remember in 1996-7 also, before the demise of late Abacha, he came with Vision 2020 as if it's 100 years to come. Now we are 20, we are 3 years older than the 2020 he was talking about. The agenda he presented to Nigerians in that particular year, how many of the agenda have we implemented? Or is not in vogue? No. So the question you ask is can only be answered that the party we have today did not have ideologies. Number one. If you want to prove me wrong, I am privileged to have read the constitutions of both leading parties in Nigeria today. I mean PDP and APC. Let them point to me where they put their manifesto, what they want to achieve at every political dispensation they have privilege to accomplish. Tell us what you want to achieve. They don't even have one. It's when you have something to offer, then people ask you that, why are you not offering it? But when you don't have anything in the first place, so nobody can crucify you. And that's why no Nigerians can crucify anybody today.
You made mention of Lagos State as a case study.
Yes.
Now, you said they have a blueprint.
Yes, according
to... I don't want to really agree if it's a party thing, because the party ruling in Lagos that have been doing tremendous, according to your word, they have been projecting, they have been succeeding over the years. We still have those same party in other states. And we are not seeing same energy of success being reciprocated in those states. Agreed. So what is your take on that?
Very simple. If there could be, it is not too late, if there could be parliamentary decision that in Nigeria, let us use Ondo as a case study now. Let our parliamentarian come up with blueprints and let them make it a kind of mandate that this blueprint should be followed, provided it's good for us. But don't be surprised if another government comes. It may tell us that I'm not in support of the blueprint. They may come with a kind of shortcomings to expose that blueprint. But the advantage Lagos has is that because since 1990 date, they still produce who manages the affair of the state till date. So the continuity was easier for them, unlike other states in the southwest. Even I think it's only in Lagos that has ever happened. That they still maintain the same party since 1990 today in Nigeria. No other state ever tried that. They have changed hands. Had it be Of course, I cannot encourage that a party should continue to be ruling. I won't encourage that. It is when we have diversification of parties, we get the best. Like in the case of Ondo State. Today, 4 parties have ruled Ondo State. AD, PDP, Labour Party, today APC. And all of them, we know those that meant well for Nigeria, for Ondo State people. And those that are that we should even say, these are the enemies of progress. We have them. I won't mention names, and I won't mention any party. But it's an eyesore. The same thing applicable, that if these parties, or if the parliamentarian rather, can come up with a blueprint, and it must go to every constituency in this particular state. I'm using Ondo State as a case study now, and it must be acceptable to the parties. To the constituencies. So once we achieve this, and it must have a time lag. Okay, it's going to be 20 years project. It's going to be 10 years project. It's going to be 12 years project. That's to start with. These are the things we are likely to do, and we are going to do in every constituency in the state. Second, these are the things we are going to do at a state, at a local government, and as constituencies. Once those things were done and is acceptable to all, we all embrace it, and we ensure that any government that comes to place or come in place must ensure he follows such blueprints. But the reverse is the case. And let us now ask ourselves, is it possible in our today political system? The answer is yes. Is it implementable? The answer is no. It is easier to say than done. It's easier said than done. So that is why I said until we have the balance. And let me just tell you the fullness of all today. Is because as of today, even Lagos is, except that it is minimum in Lagos, but every other state in Nigeria, they allow the mediocres to take charge of their political system until the elites begin. The good ones among them, elite anyway, come to the table that we need to rescue our state or our nation. The technocrats, people that have something upstairs, sit down together. Let us fashion out. But as of today, is the mediocres, the half illiterates, the unknown in society, the corrupt individuals that are leading our state and Nigeria as a whole today. Until we change the narrative, I am afraid if there could be any way out.
Well, as regards to the voters and the responsibilities of these political parties to the voters, because definitely they need these people to vote for them before they emerge winners to begin with. So how will you explain the responsibility of political parties to addressing the issues of voters' apathy? Because right now, when we talk about campaigning, when we talk about contests, most of the times the result is violence at the end of the day, which causes the voters at the end of the day not coming out to vote the way they should. So what would you say about that?
From experience, I have 2 things to say about that. The elites don't go out to vote. Go and check it. Elites don't go out to vote. These so-called half or semi or illiterates are the one committed to our electioneering. So the first thing is for our educated ones to come out for 2 things. 1, to vote. 2, to educate the voters. When you educate the voters, they should know their right from their wrongs, and their right from their left. Take for instance, of recent or in the last 10 years, we have been experiencing one thing in Ondo State that is alien to the Ondo State. Edibuesebe. It's alien, but today it is in vogue. When you come with your cash, you get your votes. Forgetting that this cash is yours for days, at most for a week or weeks. Then you come back to square one. So let there be voters' education. Let them vote their conscience, not the money at hand. That's number 1 thing we can do. Then number 2, the educated ones should go back to their worlds, go back to their villages. Let them realize why they need to change their mentality to electioneering and voting. This may, at the beginning, we may not get the needed result. But in the case of Ondo State, I am using this as a case study. We have outgrown that. That maybe they will not hear. Take for instance, the last 10 years, let's say 8 years or so, they voted Edibuesebe. The repercussion was much on them. 4 years after Edibuesebe, what they experienced in the first time was like a child's play to what they experienced after. This is the 3rd or 4th time. It's not left for them. If they want to die in that mental, in that such person they don't like themselves in, either they listen or they die, or they live the remainder of their life in such terrible situation. So it is not left for them, but the duty of our people is to go and tell them, last 8 years you collected money and you voted. What was the result? Last 4 years you did the same thing. Another one is coming. Are you going to do the same thing? By the time we begin to educate them, not all of them will listen. But once you can achieve 50% that we have listening here to you, you will get result. Because out of that 50 I had, few of them will tell the other ones, let us have a rethink. What we are, like you say, some people will still have such mentality that any oracle you worship for 3 years and did not even have any benefit in your life, nothing stops you from quitting and serve another god. So once that will begin to come in, then it can extend to all the parts of the world. Let me give you another example in Nigeria today. The Nigeria last election we had few months ago, it was an eyesore that people voted sentimentally and got results. Today, every one of us is dancing to the music, and I won't tell us whether it's a good music or bad music. Every individual should be able to say whether the music I'm dancing today, I'm very happy to dance to it, or otherwise. It's your choice. It's not my duty to tell you, but it's an eyesore. God will heal Nigeria.
Now, you made mention of which I really appreciate you following up with a lot of interpretation, the Edibu kind of thing, your cash and the votes thing. Now, when we come to, let's say, politics, is a game of numbers. Election is a game of emotion, is a game of psychology. Because all these things need to put in place. When you put them in place, then you get results.
Sure.
Now, in the political parties, we are supposed to have an agreement. This is how we are going to bring a candidate. By the end of the day, we still see a situation of people after primaries in the political party taking each other to court. I don't like this result. I don't like this result. Possibly, you might not like it because you don't like the way you lost the election. Possibly, it might be a situation of the highest bidder. Now, that goes back to the situation of you saying they don't have a structure, they don't have a blueprint, which you have already stated. Now, let's come back to our people here. For you to bring a candidate out, of course, you must have scrutinized that candidate to be sure that, okay, this one is going to represent us without any blemish. But at the end of the day, we see a situation like result issues in the courts. We see a lot of things. We have an electoral body. You are going to submit your result to them. Your political party are supposed to check and balance to be like, okay, this person has been certified in every sphere to know that he is not going to be with blemish. But at the end of the day, we don't see these things, both the electoral bodies and the political parties. What is your take on this?
When you were trying to mention the attributes of political parties in Nigeria, you forgot to add one, and I will add it to you. Okay. I will add it for you. That political parties in Nigeria today is of deceit. Deceit is everywhere. And don't forget that every time deceit has a hedge above reality and truth, the end result will always be calamitous. Today, I have studied every party in Nigeria, and I want to limit my scope to the major parties, the PDP and APC. I think before the election last year or so, I said it here, that it is very rare for any party to beat either of the two in any election today. Why? They have what it takes. One, they have the structure. Two, they have the number. So for you to beat them, you have to go for an equaling task. And that is what happened to Labour Party. And that's why you say, they got third. They only surprised me by getting distant third. I was expecting, distant third, but they got closer third. So that was that was the only surprise I had. I thought they would come very, very distant. It's very close. Good one for them. But they can never underline, never win those two parties. And if you look at the results for the first winner and the runner-up, if not for some reasons, we can say very close, 8,000,066 still very close. That shows that Nigerians know exactly what they want. But deceit has been the source of the two major parties from day one, from their primary, even before the primary. They have been, what divided the PDP as a party? Deceit. What gave Tinubu problem in the party? Deceit. But eventually he was able to outplay and manage himself to come out victorious in the party. So going back to your question, wherever deceit is at play, there will always be problems, and until we are ready to put that one off. And like I used to say, in my life, since my day one of bad thing today, every good thing I got in my life, I got it on merit. And if Nigeria as Nigerians can allow merit to come first before any other thing, we will not be where we are. I can tell you in 80 years, Nigeria will be rated among the developed countries in the world. I can give it to you. We have all it takes to be a developed world. But because of deceit that gave birth to corruption and all the antisocial behaviors that we experience in Nigeria today, is because the foundation is on deceit. So why we are not getting results today is as simple as because our foundation was on deceit. That's what I want to say about that.
Anyways, let's now dive into the upcoming elections. That's from Belsa, Imo, and also Kogi State. Now, INEC came out to say that this particular election is a very crucial one for them.
Why do you
exactly? I wanted to ask, why do you think INEC would state that this particular election is a crucial one for them?
In the question he asked the other time, I will lead it with this one.
Okay.
Because something you asked a question that what are the activities of the INEC,
the electoral
body to this? The question is this: let Nigerians ask Nigerians that as of today, can we say INEC is an electoral body we can all vouch for? Let us ask ourselves. One, like you asked the other time, if the political parties failed to screen their candidates, the next body that should do that is INEC. Let's now ask ourselves, how many candidates have they screened out in their entire life? That the court will eventually come back and tell us INEC did not get the truth, so they will now dismiss, like the case of Bayelsa last election. And many others we have seen them. Why do we have tribunal? It's not only that because there could be malpractices during the election, but not that because they said there may not be perfection in the duties of INEC. But the question is, why is INEC always have problems at every election? If it's not in state A, it may be state B. If not in state B, it must be at national level, even at the local level. If the INEC has done their work very well, little of us will go to the court. But our electoral body, I want to say, my opinion, they have not been doing well. And I want to use the last problem we had before INEC and before the Supreme Court put it to rest, that our president had issues that has to do with certificates. If they had done their work very well, diligently, they're supposed to have come out and give us a verdict that we have screened, we have verified the results, and we confirm it was true. We confirm this. If they had done that, all these issues would have been laid to rest. The same thing applicable to every state or many states in Nigeria. Why? Because they have neglected some of their primary assignments. So to me, I am not saying I don't see anything new INEC will do in these three states. Let us don't forget, it may be of recent Osho State issue. They promised heaven and earth. Eventually, it was tribunal that told us that INEC did not win. Only for the upper court to tell us that he won. He won. So why do we have these issues? I am not expecting anything strange or anything new from the INEC, except what you have been saying. And don't be surprised, after the 3 elections, we still go to tribunal. Mark my word.
That exactly brought me to my next question. You've pointed out a lot of things, and you've said most of the election conducted have been marred with irregularities and a lot of distrust.
It's a nice
Let me
one.
use the word that way. Now, the 3 off-cycle elections are around the corner, and we have voters apathy in one corner that is there. Most Nigerians would believe, oh, my vote is not going to count, so why do I need to go out? That's why you made mention of the elites not going out, because they need to do a lot to make that work positively for the nation. We have that, and we have insecurity. Now, we say the electoral body needs to do more. They've promised that the Beavers is going to give a very good and accurate result, though they did promise that before the presidential election. We saw the result. Now, they still said the same again, that it's going to give better results. Let's keep the fingers crossed. But on the case of insecurity, citing Bayelsa, Kogi, and the other states, do you think something good is going to come out, and we are not still going to end back in court?
Before I discuss security, I want to say a few things about the food apathy. If anybody is telling Nigerians today that our votes no longer count, such person is living in the life of the past. Today, our votes are counting. I want Nigerians to note that. Votes casted is being counted now. The only thing you can do is that ensure that your votes are not manipulated. And we have seen examples, even in the last presidential election. We all saw it. Votes counted, but votes were manipulated. And the manipulation can come in 2 ways. Either by the at our own world level, or let me call it constituency level. But major part of it comes at the top too.
National.
At national. I am not pointing at that to any INEC or any political parties. But once we discovered and it has confirmed that there are discrepancies in the results we get, that shows that something is wrong somewhere. And we don't know where it is wrong from. But let the leadership at the helms of affairs do something about that. That's about voters apathy. Our votes count now. So go out and vote anytime you have the opportunity to do so. Let's go back to the security. Today, I want to use Kogi State as a case study. We could see the numbers of kidnapping, assassination attempts, and the rest. Why? Because of one vote, governorship election. And we stood so low to be threatening ourselves with assassination. Is it a do or die fear? Let us ask ourselves. And if INEC or the security outfits are promising us that all will be well, it should start from now. If they want to tell us that they are going to secure lives and property by the period of election, let them start now. Let us begin to see it. It's what we see now that will guarantee the voters that they have done this, they have done that. Certainly on that day will be free. But once you cannot arrest the situation for now, how do you expect Nigerians or the states involved to believe in you that by that time you are going to give them the best? I doubt it. So I want to appeal to the INEC and as well as the our security agents to do the needful. Don't wait until someone is killed. Prevent the killing. And how do you prevent the killing? Yoruba will say atokiri. We
need a lot of translation.
Yes. So let me use it literally. That someone that has a very inner eyes, that I don't know how to say it.
Deeper eyes.
Deeper eyes. It will begin to cry before it gets to the venue of funeral. So that by the time he gets there, he will not be calling, he will not be struggling to call it tears. The tears will just be coming because it has started earlier. And that's why I say early to bed is early to rise. So that is to say, we must begin to prove and show Nigerians what we are capable of doing now, not until the day of election. Because by the day of the election, people must have lost trust and interest in whatever they claim or think they can do. So the earlier the better.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much for coming on the program.
I wish I could go deeper because I actually had some other things prepared outside, but no problem. Time permits us some other times. Well, thank you to our audience for always staying tuned, and this is where we'll draw the curtain for today's episode from our studios here in Ondo City, and we'll be moving over to Lagos Station. So till I come your way again, I'm Angela Daku.
And I must say, it's a new day, it's a new week. Stay out. be productive, and be fruitful. Enjoy your day and know that Nigeria is going to be great. As always, we believe. I remain Micheal Obagiri.